Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to help you get the Zettelkasten of your dreams on your work table beside you. Well, a couple of days ago in our series on writing from the Zettelkasten, I spoke about the pre-production draft. In particular, I talked about a zero draft, which was just random ideas as they popped into my mind. Capture that idea fast before it escapes. Don't worry about the preamble that leads up to it. Just make sure there's a complete thought that I'll be able to understand in 2 days if I come back to it a little later and still make good sense of it. But in between that and the first production draft, which is in paragraph form and trying to be my first try at a finished copy of my work, in between was another type of a first draft. And I'm now calling this, to keep them separate, the pre-production draft. Now, when I showed it to you on my yellow legal pad, I demonstrated the form that it often takes. I often do my pre-production draft in the form of bullet points or lists. It's not complete sentences. Nevertheless, that pre-production draft is the boss of the writing project. So don't be thinking of it as being something you're going to slap off and be done with. It's got a real live job to do. I've stressed a couple of times how valuable it is to push the effort as forward in the writing process as you can so that the pressure is off. Well, the pre-production draft has some important jobs to do. Its job is to give you everything that you want to actually say in your first production draft, and it should give you the order in which you want to say it. Now, you may have done some block points. Before you create your first production draft, you're going to want to determine what order you're going to present those paragraphs in. And within that list of points that you want to make, you're going to want to decide what order do you want to present them in. In that regard, some important decisions are being made at a time when you are not also fretting over how can I word this just so. And what this means is that by the time you're creating your production draft, all you need to think about is the wording. The rest of the job has already been done, and that can turn out to be very powerful. So how do we understand the pre-production draft? Think of it as an executive, literally a boss. If you were going to have someone actually create the words for you, and you were not going to put the words down on paper yourself, you would have to be careful in how you guided the person who was going to put those words down on paper. And what you do are the very kinds of things I just mentioned. You'd say, okay, this is the information I want to have presented, and this is the order in which the blocks of information should go, and within the paragraphs, the order in which the individual pieces should go. When you think about it, that's a pretty important part of your writing. And being aware of how important it is should help keep you on your toes when you're doing your pre-production draft. Don't be thinking of it as just dashing off a list. Think of it as delegating the writing to your future self who will actually compose the sentences. But who's in charge? The pre-production draft is actually in charge. I think if you approach it that way, you'll find that it takes a lot of the pressure off your final draft, and it does something else that's very, very important. And that is that if it expands the available pieces of your day that you can use for your final draft. If you think about it, if you're doing serious creative work, that takes a quiet time with no interruptions, where your mind is at its best so that you can focus on the complete picture, what you're trying to create as a complete package. That takes a lot of mental power, and you kind of need to be doing that at the time of day where you are at your peak of performance. But if you organize your pre-production draft properly, you don't need that kind of time to actually be able to produce your production draft. Think about it. If all you need to focus on for your production draft is, okay, this is the paragraph I'm writing, and this is the order in which I have to present my points, you can write one paragraph if you've got 10 minutes free. And what that means is that your day suddenly becomes much more highly productive. Those pre-production drafts, if you focus, they can be created quickly. That means that you can get a lot more of the kind of work that requires your peak attention accomplished in a day. You'll be surprised at how much more productive you are if you give executive power to your pre-production draft. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.